morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Waterstone Media Podcast. As always, I am joined by my good friend Taylor Crook. Taylor, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm wonderful. It is sunny and beautiful out, and I'm enjoying that as well. So it is not just the overcast days that make me happy. So
it is actually slightly painful for me because right now the porch that I like working on is warm and sunny and out of the wind, and I'm inside recording, and that's tough.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, I forgive you. So what's been new? It's been a while since we've talked. What have you been working on?
So I'm working on mostly our little new series that we've been sort of starting out. That's been my main focus. I did a little bit of editing on Sentinels 2, the as yet unnamed sequel, Sentinels 2, which has been good. We sort of discussed a little bit that I don't want to say that it's like a big overhaul, but there's definitely things there's big concepts that need to be refined. So we were sort of talking a little bit about how that's probably going to have to be a simultaneous attempt, at least for the first few chapters, so we get the groundwork laid. So, and then
I think you can say it's going to be a big overhaul.
I'm just trying to be optimistic.
Don't you like big overhauls?
No, yes, I just it's I guess it's not. I wouldn't say it's daunting. It would be daunting if I was doing it solo, but I feel like since we're doing it together, it ends up being a lot less daunting. So, I'll say I'm excited for it instead. And the truth will be somewhere in the middle.
We do get to share the load, so that should be fun.
It does help. It does help Samwise.
I know you can't walk any further, but I'll carry you.
What are you working on?
I have been working on finishing up the edit of book 4 of Last Sword in the West.
Right.
And it has been really fun. I really enjoy the characters in this story. I really enjoy the climactic scenes that they find themselves in. So I've really been having a lot of fun with that, as well as passing behind you on the other unnamed project that we are currently working on.
Mm-hmm. Which we're going to have to come up with a name for.
So that has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's good.
Unnamed Project 1, Unnamed Project 2.
Yeah, Ryan Kirk's got a lot of unnamed projects in there. All my projects are named except for that one.
Yeah, I was realizing at one point in time that I think I was actually contemplating working on 6 projects at once, and that was about 4 projects too many, so...
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy to think, oh, well, I just
like writing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
There's so many things to write. So many things. Today, we are actually continuing the theme of collaboration that we started last week. And for those of you who had a chance to tune in and listen, Taylor and I decided, in true Taylor and Ryan fashion, not to write just one short story, but to actually write 2 short stories, both taking place in the Sentinels universe. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to split that up into 2 separate episodes. Mm-hmm. And this first one is going to be the spoiler-free episode. So if you are interested in hearing a prequel short story to our first collaborative effort, Path of the Eternal Sun, you're in the right place. And for our prequel story, we are focusing on, I think, perhaps Taylor's favorite character of the man known as Beast.
Pretty close to my favorite.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually read our stories, and then we're going to talk about them live on air, talk about what we liked, what we would maybe improve, and eventually you'll be able to pick these stories up for free on our website. So you'll be able to watch as it happens.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
So Taylor, first important question. Which one of us is starting?
It doesn't matter. I can go first if you want me to.
Okay, I would love to have you go first.
Yeah.
I've been dying to hear the story. So
Cool. Yeah, that works. I will say that I realized after I finished it and put it through an edit that this is normally when I would then send it to Ryan to be polished up. And so I was like, oh, I guess I got to do like one more polish through and like do my best Ryan impression as I'm going through, just to keep it consistent with the rest of the stuff. So it was interesting. It was an interesting thought. I was like, oh, I'm writing a surprise for Ryan, which means I can't get Ryan to look at it. So
I know absolutely nothing about what this is, and we even didn't really discuss the plot beforehand. The theme was just how Beast wanted to become the Bandit King.
Yeah, sort of what set him on the path, as it were.
Yeah, the genesis of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, without further ado, I'm actually going to mute my microphone so that you don't have to hear me.
But I like reading stuff to you and hearing your
tell the story.
All right.
Okay, fine. I'll leave it on.
Well, because I can't see you either. Because it's. Oh, I guess I can sort of. There you go. Yeah, actually, that works. I can see you. I can at least see some reactions. All right. I feel like I'm back in high school. You know, when you had to stand up in front of the class and read your creative writing piece.
Your performance will be graded.
Merrick stood over the old farmer with a malicious grin on his face and struck him with the back of his hand hard enough that a few teeth popped out. You wouldn't hold out on the Sentinels, would you? So why are you holding out on us when we make sure the Sentinels leave you alone? Merrick asked the man. We never asked for your help, the man mumbled through broken lips. You demand more than they ever did. Merrick laughed and kicked the man kneeling in front of him in the side of the head, causing him to topple over. Then he turned to Beast. You see how selfish they are? How they withhold what any decent person would share? Beast nodded, even though, as was happening more and more often, he disagreed with his self-proclaimed mentor. Merrick had found Beast fighting for food in a basement of a tavern. He told him then that he would change Beast's life for the better and teach him how to live like a king. Beast had been immediately struck by Merrick's confidence and agreed to join him. At first, the things Merrick taught made sense. He ruled with an iron fist through fear, something Beast's size and strength helped to enforce. As he stood before the brutalized farmer who refused to break, he began to wonder how much sense Merrick's tactics really made. Are you ready to show us where you keep your extra food hidden? Merrick asked the farmer who was struggling to his hands and knees. I would rather die, the farmer said. Merrick grinned. What do we do now, Beast? Show them our power, Beast replied, half-heartedly. Merrick's grin broadened and he drew a dagger from his belt. He picked up the old man roughly and plunged the filthy blade into his belly. There was a collective groan from the crowd. You see, Merrick bellowed, turning in a circle to include everyone in the farming community. Your leader would rather die with his pride than help you. Tell me, which one of you is willing to help their friends? The crowd remained silent, and the bandit group that Merrick had cobbled together began to shuffle their feet a little. They knew perfectly well that Merrick was willing to slaughter everyone here if need be, that he might even do it just for fun. Come here, Merrick said, and grabbed an elderly woman from the crowd. A few of those closest to her tried to pull her back, but Merrick's thugs advanced on them with weapons drawn. Merrick put the blade to the woman's neck and then motioned for one of the smaller children to come forward. Beast thought that the boy would have to be dragged from his mother, but in an act of incredible bravery, the child squared his shoulders and walked forward. Beast felt a wave of shame in the face of that courage, and even as it crested and broke, he wasn't sure where it had come from. Good lad. You know this woman? Merrick asked, tapping the point of the dagger on her throat. The little boy nodded. And you wouldn't want to see her hurt. The boy shook his head. And you would expect her to feel the same about you, right? You're a family here. You all look after each other. The boy nodded again, and Merrick's grin took on a murderous bent. Then you need to know, if you don't tell me where the food is, her death is on your hands. Merrick pressed the point of the dagger into the woman's throat until it drew blood. The woman cried out briefly, but clamped her mouth shut. Merrick's grin faltered a little, and the boy's defiance seemed to grow. He stood a little taller and tilted his head back. You're just going to kill us anyway. We'd rather die knowing you're starving. Merrick exploded enraged, tossing the woman to the ground and savagely slamming his fist into the boy's face. The tiny form fell to the ground, but Merrick picked him up by the neck so that he dangled in front of the elderly woman. I will kill him, and every other child here, one at a time, until you tell me where that food is, Merrick said desperately through clenched teeth. The woman looked at the boy who, with a strength beyond his years, simply nodded to her in return. The woman smiled and folded her arms. Beast felt like the breath had been knocked from his lungs. These people, these ordinary farmers, peasants who lived at the bottom of a system that stepped on them daily, possessed a strength Beast had never seen. Their very lives, living on nothing, toiling for those who held all the power, was the very crucible that forged them into a strength that a bully like Merrick could never understand. that forged in them a strength that a bully like Merrick could never understand. Someone just needed to unlock it. Merrick's hand raised back. The dagger was poised to descend into the tiny heart he held in his hands. Beast caught Merrick's wrist. "The fuck are you doing?" Merrick asked. Beast answered by slamming his fist into the older man's face. Merrick staggered back, but recovered quickly. Beast was the larger man, but Merrick possessed a strength bestowed upon fully formed adults. They traded blows, and for a moment Beast was pushed backwards by Merrick's technique and experience. Then he saw only red. In a burst of violence, he shot forward and struck out with his fists, feet, knees, and elbows. Merrick tried to cover up, but too many blows were landing too ferociously. Soon, Merrick was still, and Beast was being dragged off of him. He shook off his new attackers and readied himself to fight to the death, but the bandits closest to him stepped away with their hands raised. As his head cleared, he realized that he had shown his power. Now, as he looked over the downtrodden faces of the citizens of Samus, he came to a resolution. He would show this nation true power. And scene.
Damn.
Thank you. Getting a golf clap.
And you... Oh, man. Okay. That was really fun. One of the reasons that I'm enjoying this so much is because I already know what I've written. And so I'm already seeing the commonalities that we had between our pieces, but also the differences. And I'm not going to lie, having read some of your first draft work, I was worried that was going to get a lot darker than it ended up getting.
Yeah, I thought it didn't need to... Yeah. Yes.
I really liked that. And you know what else is funny? Is I actually think our stories don't even need to contradict one another.
Really?
They take place in different time periods in Beast's life. They could be two different stories, both of Beast's life.
Yeah.
With a little bit of editing, they could actually go together. And I really, really like that. One of the things that I really liked about that piece is that you captured some of the elements of Beast that are also present in the story, such as the blood rage or the berserker rage that lends him so much strength that you were able to tie that into the story as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my, I wanted there to be, and like, I toyed with the idea of it being like the first time that had happened to him maybe, but I thought that it was fine sort of as is. That can be, it could be the first time, it could be the 12th time, I don't know, but it seemed fine. And I like the idea that too, that like, you know, I don't know, I guess this is the spoiler-free edition, so maybe I shouldn't say too much about Beast's entire path, but I sort of wanted to seed some of the realizations that he comes to towards the end of the book in the beginning here as well. So
it seems to be a very good picture, or it seems to illustrate well the roots of his character that become more fully fleshed out in the story.
Yeah. I realized as I was reading, I said fighting for food in a tavern cellar. I meant like in a fighting ring, but I realized as I read, I was like, that's not what it sounds like. Like it sounds, but I guess it works either way. But you know, like fighting for scraps of food in like some sort of underground fighting ring. But
I mean, that's the editing process for you, right?
Exactly.
What was the hardest part of that for you?
I'll be honest, that one sort of flowed from start to finish without too much of an issue. It was within the word count. No problem. I think it's below, to be honest. I think it's under. I think it's under 1,000 words. No, sorry, it's 9 words over. Sorry, but I know.
Oh,
hard cap. My shin one's like 14 words over. Sometimes it happens.
Oh my goodness! Like, were you even listening to the instructions?
I was, but I did not fear the consequence of not listening to them.
Oh, if you weren't 900 miles away right now.
At any rate, it flowed pretty easily. I think the only thing I guess the thing I went back and forth on was like what was going to be the catalyst to have Beast step in. And originally the catalyst was going to be him being unwilling to hurt the kid. I was going to get Merrick to tell him to beat the kid so the woman would give the thing. But I thought if the end result was going to be Beast's realization that he can unite the downtrodden in Samus, and they can be, there's power there that people don't understand because they don't think of them as human almost. I thought it was better to demonstrate that power in what would be the most vulnerable of those people, in an aged woman and a young child. So I think once that coalesced.
I think that young kid is one of my new favorite characters.
I know. Who's he going to be? Who's he going to turn into?
I don't know. Somebody awesome.
Somebody else.
We'll have to insert him into book 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Or he could turn into one of Beast's lieutenants in book 2.
Yeah, I didn't name him, so there's opportunity there.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like to hear mine?
I would. What would you do if I said no? Actually, no, man. I'm going to read my Shin chapter and then I'm getting out of here.
Podcast over, I guess?
No, I do. I've been very excited to hear yours.
I would put on a sad face and walk away. I'd go out into the sunlight and burn in the sun.
Just do the Charlie Brown.
Okay, here we go. He'd had a name once, given to him by the bastard who pretended to be his father. A name suitable for the youngest son of a farmer poorer than the dirt he pretended to farm. He'd never liked the name. It had been like the ill-fitting second-hand tunics that had been his only clothing growing up. He discarded the name faster than the clothes on the day he left home, hands stained with blood. Besides, that name now carried too much risk. The Sentinels searched for a boy of that name, eager to kill him in the name of their precious path. He supposed he should be frightened, but he wasn't. He'd learned more about himself in the past 3 days than he had in all of his past 16 years. First had come the fight with his impostor of a father, a fight that revealed hidden parts of his heart. After, he'd wandered the plains, wondering if these hidden parts of him were true, or were they as fake as his father? He couldn't answer the question on his own, but fortunately, bandits could. His father had feared bandit attacks. He'd spoken of them like they were sin, the mythological assassins who had once terrorized all of Samus. But when he'd encountered his first group of bandits on the road, the reality didn't match his father's fear. The bandits were simply 3 malnourished men desperate for coin. He'd left the bandits broken, their few coins jingling in his own pockets. That was when he knew the hidden parts of his heart were true. He basked in violence and fought without fear. Today, he visited a small village holding a market. It was a risk, but with a cloak draped over his shoulders and a wide hat covering his face, he attracted little attention. The sentinels looked for a young man, but he could pass himself off as a full adult without trouble. He spent the bandits' coin on food and supplies. Some interactions with merchants were awkward, as he had no name to introduce himself with. But money was a language everyone understood, and so no one asked too many questions. He needed a name, though, and a destination. He'd been wandering for 5 days, and although he enjoyed the freedom, he already wanted more. A conversation among a group of women froze him in his tracks. "Did you hear about the murders to the south? A farmer and a guildsman were killed, and the sentinels say it was the farmer's own adopted son." The woman spread her gossip with a smile, as though she were handing out candies to children. Another woman nodded. "I heard that when one of the younger sentinels saw the scene, he came out of the house and retched. He didn't believe a human could have done it, claimed it had to have been a beast." The other women let out appropriately horrified gasps. He paused, an apple halfway to his lips. Being called a beast by these people didn't offend him. It unlocked something in his chest and let him breathe easier. He wasn't one of them. Anyone with eyes to see knew the same. He knew now that his father had found him, and had only taken him in because he envisioned another pair of hands to work the fields, while he drank cup after cup of ale. Beast. He liked it. It set him apart from the false civilization these people had built, the edifice of lies they called the Path. Beast completed his purchases. His steps felt lighter. Several stalls down, there was a sudden commotion. 2 sentinels had arrived at the market, and they were kicking a young man who was already curled up in a ball. Beast heard grunts of "thief" and "this will teach you" from the sentinels as they beat the kid to a pulp. Beast looked around for a weapon, but found nothing convenient, which was probably for the best. He didn't need any more attention. And although the sentinels could have killed the boy, they didn't seem so inclined. Beast watched, camouflaged by everyone around him doing the same. Once the sentinels were satisfied, their faces red and sweaty from the exertion, they encouraged the rest of the market to resume. They walked right by Beast, nearly brushing against his shoulder, but they never noticed him. The market returned to its previous bustle without so much as a glance at the boy. Families walked around him, as though he was an inconvenient stone in the road. Beast almost joined the others, but something held him back. He knew what it was to be beaten and ignored. He walked over to the boy and squatted next to him, then pulled out the remaining coins from his pocket. "Here." The boy cracked open one swollen eye. Beast kept his face hidden, the brim of his hat low. The boy reached out and took the coins. "Thank you, sir." Sir. Combined with beast, it was as if the key in his chest just kept turning, unlocking a little more of his future. He'd never had someone look up to him before. He liked that, too. For the first time, he understood why someone might choose to become a sentinel. To earn this deference, as a matter of course, was a powerful temptation. Beast nodded once and stood. He walked away from the boy, thoughts churning. He could never be a sentinel. They would never let him into their hallowed ranks, especially if they learned his old name. But there were others out there who needed someone to guide them, someone to tell them what to do. He thought of both the bandits on the road and the boy in the market. Why not him? He bit deeply into his apple, enjoying the juices as they trickled down his chin. Beast, the bandit king. He liked the sound of that.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. That is good. It's a unsurprisingly calmer rendition of Beast interaction. That was good.
Yeah, I was just feeling something that brought out the lighter side of Beast.
Yeah, for sure. And there is one. It's funny. My sister, who's reading the book, was saying she loves Shin. She said Shin's her favorite. She said, I like when it's Shin's turn, is what she says. But she's like, I like Beast too. He's just really violent. Like, it's just, and my sister is like the gentlest human being. If my sister had a superpower, it would be empathy. Like, she's the kindest human being I know. But so I think she likes Beast because he's likable. But I was like, yeah, he's a little violent. So it's good to see the kinder side. No, I thought that was really good. I like that. I like the setting. I thought that was cool. It makes me think that I'm thinking about some of the early parts of the second book, and I think we need to probably mention his familiarity with Elos, because that's where he's from. That's where he grew up. That's where he sort of. So I think I don't know if, as a world building piece, I think we need to mention that his familiarity, and that's what Midnight makes me think of, is that, all right, he came from a place. He just didn't sprout up as a vessel for us to tell a story through. So that's good. What did you find hardest about that one?
For me, it was trying to come up with a situation that he didn't solve by beating it to a bloody pulp.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of his main go-to.
Yeah, but I was really interested in the idea of catching him so much earlier in his life.
Yeah.
And so I think that was fun.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's very cool. It's good. And I see what you mean about how we could sort of stitch those two together. You know, we could
absolutely stitch those two together, because then he would become a part of the bandit group and learn even more about the strength and honor of the people.
Yeah, I think it would be like he would have an idea that he wanted to do. He'd become part of the group, and then maybe the realization that he has towards the end of my story is more of remembering what he maybe lost about what he wanted to do. What did he like best was it was helping that kid. It wasn't just the power and the fear. It wasn't breaking the bandits. It wasn't just defying the sentinels. It was helping that kid that couldn't help himself. It could be, you know, you can remember that. Then there's a bit of an ebb and flow to the story, right? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. For everyone listening, we will have, of course, transcripts, and we will actually have the stories once they get all edited and maybe even stitched together. We'll see how they go. We'll have them up on the website with links to those for everyone to check out for free. So, and of course, if you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to check out Path of the Eternal Sun, available wherever books are sold. Taylor, it's been a true pleasure, sir. You have yourself a wonderful day, and we will talk soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, everybody.